Oh, we're excited for the last 3 weeks of the season. I think when sports are just kicking off here, we're in the home stretch, and so it's been an exciting year. We've had some really big wins along the way, some exciting weekends. We enter into a little bit of a road stretch here, and we might be one of the only teams in the country that is more comfortable on the road. So I think everyone's excited to go to Nebraska, go play there, and Maryland before we finish it out at home against Iowa. And yeah, it's an exciting time of the year.
Supposedly, or hopefully, hosting 2 games tomorrow against Minnesota, correct?
Those have been postponed officially till next week. So no games tomorrow, unfortunately, but we'll push to next week and put all our eyes on the Cornhuskers for this weekend.
Questions for Healy?
When you talk about coming off a stretch of, so many, 7 or 8 home games or something like that you guys played in a row and then turn around and get ready for this long road stretch. When you say this team is prepared for the road, what do you mean by that? Well, what have you seen that motivates them to play better on the road so far this season?
Well, we do love playing at home. Don't get me wrong. And the fans that came out this weekend against our Northwestern series, it was just, I literally was choked up at the doing the national anthem at the beginning. Seeing the fans full, seeing the little kids on the field. I sing the national anthem all the time. The team laughs at me sometimes that I sing when it's quiet, and I couldn't sing because I was just overwhelmed at the fan support and the kids out there. So we love playing at home. It's Wisconsin. You don't always get a chance to get as many home games in as you'd like with the weather. I know every high school softball and high school baseball kid is dealing with the same thing right now, just trying to get their games in. So we embrace being on the road. We do it a lot, and we do it well. And so our last road series, we swept Purdue. So I think everybody is excited to go to Nebraska, and it's a phenomenal environment, and see if we could do a little damage there.
Coming off of the series against Northwestern and knowing where you're at in the Big Ten season, how pivotal is this stretch of road games?
It's such a big deal. I think it's so much about learning, and you can win the regular season and you can win the Big Ten tournament. And our last Big Ten championship was at Nebraska, and so I think we want to just keep getting better. And wow, we got better this weekend. I mean, everybody wanted the win. We would all felt better coming across, but to play the best team in conference that tight every single game and have so many chances, it's heartbreaking. But I think everyone's really hungry, and we got smarter.
I know the Minnesota series is now, or the doubleheader is postponed, but I know Maddie Schwartz has a family affair with the Gophers with their sister playing. Is there anything, I know that she's quite the veteran upperclassman, but is there anything you have to talk to her about or anything without having this kind of a sibling rivalry with obviously a school rival?
Well, Maddie Schwartz is just such a leader for us, and she loves her sister. So, I think there's rivalry, but, she's cheering for Sid all weekend, this weekend when we're not playing them. And so, but Maddie's a pro. She'll keep it focused. I don't know what mom and dad will wear in the stands. That'll be an interesting one to see what they do, but her grandpa's a UW alum, and we call him Varsity Grandpa. So I think he'll have the Wisconsin stuff on in the stands next week.
Sticking with Maddie just real quick, obviously she's done well in the circle so far this season, but all around your pitching staff, the kind of depth that you guys have brought this season, how big has that been for, the success that this team has had this year?
Oh, yeah. We have depth, but, how about Maddie Schwartz? I just think she's such a leader. She keeps getting better. She wants the ball. And at the same time, when someone else throws, she's all about getting them going. So she threw a no-hitter at Purdue, and everybody was excited, her first no-hitter that she's ever had. And then right on her heels, Tessa Magnanimo throws a shutout. And so to have someone throw that well and then, next in line, step up and put a 0 on the board, it was really cool to see. So we've got options. We've got arms. We've got a couple different arms. I think it makes us tough to scout. And Maddie Schwartz, her leadership has just helped that happen because you get a lot of aces and they don't want anyone else to have the ball. And they're going to make it tough when anybody else is throwing and roll their eyes. And Maddie is just everyone's number one supporter. And I've grabbed her a couple times when she didn't get the ball quite as much. And I said, Maddie, it's a joy that you don't make it hard to just coach to win. I'm not worried about your feelings. You're a tough kid. And she's made this season really fun with just her leadership.
I say, kind of continuing with Maddie, just I know maybe the amount of innings compared to years past may not be as much, but just what strides or what improvements have you seen even this year from her?
I just think she's more balanced. She's more comfortable against lefties. You see her, she's got a change of speed. She's got that temperament, and she's fresh. Last year she really picked up the slack and threw a lot extra, and that makes it tough. It works on your velocity when you can't do that. And right now her velocity looks good, her change of speed's good, and she's playing free like there's nothing to lose. And that's what you want. You want someone going into your last 11 games of the regular season just leaving it all out there on the field.
With even was it last week that was the program's first ever inside the park home run, if I'm not mistaken. Within that, how does that play out for you in trying to instruct the player, go, stay, etc., especially in an exciting play like that?
Right. Well, I've got to thank Ashley Athcom, showing me, giving her the stop sign, and Katie Keller just going strong. No, we practice base running a ton, and I think the biggest thing is for them to make their reads and trust their stuff. And it's fun that if they've got a green light, she's a kid that. She's learned so much in the program, Katie Keller, and she's brought so much to the table. She's just been such a fun addition to the program. And so I don't think she's ever thought of herself as such a run scorer. She's always kind of been the man. And watching her step in and also get on base and also score runs and let people drive her in, she's made that an emphasis to be a threat on the bases. And so when she did that, I just thought, what a great step forward, that she's not just a kid that puts it over the fence or hits it into the gap, but she cares about scoring runs for her team. And she's a big reason why we're making a run.
Quick question. Thinking back to preseason, did you feel going in that the team would gel together as much as it has and have this success, or has anything been surprising to you this season?
Right away from the fall, this has been a fun group. I think they love each other. They've got a lot of energy. There's a lot of selflessness and drive. And so I thought it was going to be a fun team to be around. I think our sophomore class has been really good. So you look at kids like Ellie Hubbard emerging, going from second base to shortstop as a sophomore, bringing some power in that Illinois series. That's been cool. Molly Schlosser, a local Oconomowoc kid. She's got literally busloads of kids coming in from Oconomowoc cheering for her last weekend, and then she puts one over the fence in the bottom of the seventh with 2 outs to extend it and send it to extras. Those types of things. Brooke Huffle's she's feared at the plate. So you look at those sophomores, they are just bringing a lot to the table, and you add that to your veterans like Kayla Conwet and Katie Keller and Maddie Schwartz, and the future looks bright. And so they're all fun to coach, but they've had moments. But that sophomore class, they're a fun one.
You mentioned Kayla, and I know that her coming back. What's it been like this year for her, and being able to have this kind of shot that potentially she might have thought was a closed door?
Kayla's been fun to watch. She plays every at bat like it's her last. The tough thing is you get into Big Tens and a lot of people don't throw to her. And so she has just been a walk machine, and strategizing that and how to back her up and put hitters behind her is the challenge. But she's ready when the ball comes on zone and when she's got a chance, and she's just enjoying BP. She talks to the other hitters about getting better. And so she's playing with a lot of joy, and watching her just add to her game. She's a kid who's always hit oppo for power, and she's rotating on balls, and she's hitting a change of speed for power, and she's, crushing the inner half also. So to see her late in her career have so much pride in adding to her game and really being a more balanced hitter, knowing the zone, not extending herself. I mean, we're really proud to see. If your best player is pushing themselves to keep getting better, you better believe the other 25 are saying, I've got room to improve.
Let's say, I know it's kind of going back in time. It's about 10 years ago, but y'all had a 9-game winning streak that started this week. I think it started against Green Bay with a 4-3 win. Just what do you remember? I know this year you all also had a 9-game winning streak earlier this year too, but what are some memories you have of that 2013 team?
Well, the Big Ten championship is the biggest thing from that 2013 team, seeing them just kind of grind it out after not having been in the NCAAs in a long time. but that was just such a class of they went hard and they just kept learning, and they wanted it. They wanted the sport and the state to be really good. And I think that pride for making softball in the state of Wisconsin keep growing is probably why I got choked up this weekend at the Northwestern games, seeing the packed stands. It's softball's a thing, and go watch it across the state and go watch your high school games. I've got a daughter playing high school softball right now, and there's fans and there's, girls putting it over the fence, and it's just an exciting game. And so I have a lot of pride for how much the sport has continued to improve in the state, and watching it on that level, I'm just a fan of watching women chase down their dreams and get better and work at something, and looking at what the high school coaches have done to improve softball in the state. I just think we've got some phenomenal high school coaches right now, and it's showing, and it's trickling into our area, which I can't thank them enough.
Coach, you're in the last leg of the marathon season, like to call it a marathon. In what ways have you seen your upperclassmen lead and step up outside of maybe performance-wise?
I think the upperclassmen are going to be called upon right now. I think this is kind of the stretch of we've put together a great season up to this point. We've done some good things. There's some ups and downs, but you come off a tough weekend against the number one team in your conference, and what happens next, everybody's got it circled. And so, when you lose heartbreaking games, it's like you can go two ways. You can go in the tank, or you could, use it to fuel you. And so we're gonna rely on our upperclassmen to see how they respond to being on the road and how hungry they are, and just to see if we're learning and getting better. But they've been a fun group. The juniors and seniors, they lead, they play hard, they love it. They love the big light, and I think there's always players that they have another level to play when the lights turn on. And you look at juniors like Skylar Serdashny at third and Peyton Bannon in left field, and those kids, when it's the NCAA tournament or it's the postseason or the best teams, they play their best ball. So if you could put those kids on top of your seniors and your fifth years, we're going to rely on them this weekend. We'll see what they can do.